Okay, ladies and gentlemen, it is 8 o'clock. It is Tuesday, the 6th of May, 2014. This is a brand new concept on the bwrradio.com/network. My name is Dean Mitchell. His name is Ant McKenna. Evening, Ant.
Good evening, everyone. Evening, Dean. How are we doing?
I'm all right, mate. This is going to be the first broadcast of the 4020 Rugby League radio show. But we think that Radio Rugby League deserves a voice, deserves a weekly chat show for the fans, by the fans. Doesn't matter if you support Barrow Border Raiders or even St Helens, all the way up to South Sydney Rabbit.
Oi, 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 oi.
What? Have I started already?
I'm sorry, can't your team get promotion yet?
Oh yeah. Well, we're waiting. Very simply, my name's Dean Mitchell, and I'm a Sheffield Eagles fan. And I'm a
St Helens fan, born bred.
Yeah, but we're both rugby league fans at heart. We are not journalists. We're nobody special. Nobody's got this degree in journalism or broadcasting. We're just two rugby league fans that just decided that we wanted to get a voice and decided that all the fans of rugby league need something or somewhere to come and voice their opinions and their things, everything in the world of the greatest game of all. So,
definitely,
we agree. That's one thing that we'll always agree on. A lot of people say, I've got to say a thank you to everybody that's retweeted us, got in contact with us the last 7 days. This has been in the pipeline for a year. This has been on us, inside of me for the best part of a year. It was originally called Get 'em on the Side Radio, Get 'em on the Side Ref, but that died a death last year. But the 4020 Rugby League show sounds a lot better, and hopefully over the coming weeks and months that we have an entertaining life. And so, what's tonight's agenda, Mr. McKenna?
Oh, we've got loads. I mean, there's a few things you and I have talked about. We've had gripes for a while. We talk video refs, London Broncos. A Featherstone about to try and pull a Man City almost and try and buy their way into the Super League and buy the title. Promotion, relegation, is it a good thing? The split that they're going to do next year, things like that. But it's not just about the big guns, the guys you see on TV, on Sky, on the BBC. If you play at any level, if you're a coach at any level, a player at any level, a manager, a kit man, the guy who puts the white lines on the pitch every Saturday or Sunday before the boys run out. Honestly, it doesn't matter if you're the kit man at Headingley or you're the guy who gets the half-time oranges at Tato Heath. We've got phone line. We want to hear from you. We've got Twitter. We've got Skype. We've got everything we need.
Yeah, we've got a phone line.
Where do you want to start, mate?
Yeah, we've got a phone line. If you want to ring us in, we've got a phone line, 01223 926867. That is the phone line, and we've just been told we are live, so people can hear us, which is a blessing in disguise.
We are live, are we? Okay.
Yeah, so if it goes wrong, it's live. We're not recorded. We're not a podcast. We are a live show that's doing this for every single person. Right. Let's start off with the biggest talking point that's happened over the last 2 years, Bradford Bulls. The demise of the Bulls. Because everything they've done, it just seems to hit from one step down to the next one, down to the next one, down to the next one, and going down and down and down. All these promises that somebody's made to them and it never comes off. And what's next? I mean, hopefully they can pull them. They've now got on 0 points in the Super League, so they're now on a 0. Can they escape the relegation places this year?
They can, and who the other team are who will go, I'm not quite sure yet. But there are two words that are a saving grace right now for Bradford Bull, and that is London Broncos. We will get onto that later on.
Yeah,
Bradford has been mismanaged for the last few years. It's been badly mismanaged. it had
No, sorry.
when they were successful, Kids for a Quid has come back and haunted them. They had 60. Yeah,
Yeah, we're all right. Yeah.
yeah, we're back.
Yeah, we're okay, mate. Don't worry.
Yeah. No, for me personally, the Kids for a Quid haunted them. They were getting 12, 14, 16,000 attendances, but if 8,000 of them are paying £1, you're not paying Paul Deacon's wage. You're not paying Terry Newton's wage. You're not paying Brian Noble's wage. You know, Paul Newlove was sold. Looking back in hindsight, 2 Saints for a then world record fee. Now, was it done to balance the books? Was it done to keep the club afloat? We don't know. How far back could it go?
Yeah, I remember with the Eagles in '99, we sold. And this is because I was working with the Eagles at the time. We sold Keith Senior to Leeds to literally just pay the wages for the rest of the season.
Yeah.
Because then the famous merger came about, and that happened. So, but I think Bulls. It's just the fact that how can a team that's been winning grand final or getting to grand finals all the time, all of a sudden now going from having one of the best crowds in the Super League history, and all of a sudden now to be getting the begging cup out.
I think it is. It has been. I'm sure if we all looked at, if we got privy to the books at Bradford, we would see an unfortunately badly managed club, fantastically managed on the pitch, fantastically managed at club level, so to speak. But I think you've had people in the boardroom who, did they have Bradford Bulls at heart, or did they have it at heart to keep it as part of the community? It's a mystery. You know, we're not hearing everything. We're not hearing the full story.
No. All we hear is what people have said in the newspapers, or what we hear on Boots and all, or in any rugby league show at the moment. We don't know the full activities, what's happened. People are blaming the wages. The one thing that gets me is they get people like Jamie Peacock coming along and say, right, I'll donate you my shirt I wore in the grand final. I'll donate you my medals. And they raise all this money through that. And then 12 months later, they're saying, oh, we've got to go back into administration because we've lost money again. Now, I don't know how Jamie Peacock feels about this and everything like that, but if you've donated your hard-earned blood, sweat, tears, and you've got your rewards, and you've donated them back to the club, and then all of a sudden, 12 months later, you're going, well, they're back to square one. What the bloody hell did I do? It doesn't seem fair somehow. The fans are the ones that are suffering.
No, well, they are suffering, but the beauty is they're still turning out, and you know that's something. You know, we've seen tendencies in other sports dying off. I mean, cricket is the prime example. Does anyone go to a county championship game anymore? Seriously, does anyone go? Because Sky are covering it, and they're all turn up as seats.
Yep.
And it is happening, and you know, rugby league. For me personally, it needs it's wider than the Bulls. Rugby league is perennially selling itself short as a product, as a viable product, as a viable alternative to. I mean, I'm a football fan, but at the same time, to the Nancy Canby brigade that follow the football from August to May and sit there and watch £300,000 a week players fall over with and they're out for 6 weeks with a broken haircut.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We play through injuries. You know, we play through big injuries. I mean, I played 6 months with an undiagnosed cracked neck.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? You know, you got these guys. We need to market this game better. It needs it. It needs. Do you know what? It needs Keith Seniors. It needs Kieran Cunningham's. It needs Paul Newlove's, Robbie Hunter-Paul's. You know, it needs people like that in the board, not these old suit and tie brigade that they've got.
I think at the end of the day, what's happening with the Bulls? Everybody look what happened with the Crusaders, and they just went down. They rose so quickly. But then they had all the players that was in the country illegally. The visas was wrong. They kicked him out, and then they signed Gareth Thomas. Who in the right mind would sign a 36-year-old bloke that's never played a game of rugby league in their life and put him straight into the top division of rugby league and say, "Yeah, he'll survive"? That was I could never understand it from day one why they signed Gareth Thomas.
It's the rugby league mentality. The rugby league turn around when they've got an idea in their head. It's happening. This is happening. First season of Super League, we are moving to summer. All right. Do you know what? Reluctantly, I agree. That's kind of worked because it needed the exposure. Then we are having a team in Paris. Yeah. I went out there.
Yeah.
Do you know what? It was badly done. Then it was, we are having a team in Wales. We will have a team in Wales. No matter what cost or what expense, we will have this. They chop and change so many times. They don't know. Find a formula and stick to it.
It's the same every year. That stupid rule that came in when they said, "Oh, we're going to I think one of the famous rugby league rules. Morris bleeding out. I forgot his name. Morris Lindsay. When he was in charge of the Rugby Football League, and he said, "Oh, we're going to do a new rule in this year. Instead of we're going to kick the ball back to the team. We're going to change the way the kickoffs happen. So instead of doing it, they were going to reverse it, and then it just got worse. So they said, no, we're going to scrap that and go back to the way it used to be. There's only one rule that they've stuck with in the last 20 odd years, and that's the 5-yard rule. Because remember, the end of the 80s into the 90s, you used to go back 5 yards after the play the ball. You used to go back 5. Then they fetched in the rule to fetch you had to go back 10, and they've never gone back to the 5. And that's the one of the thing. Ball stealing rule. They used to have that, and then they changed it. And everything. Every year, all we rugby league we just want a game that they'd stick to and say, no rule changes, nothing like this is going to make it crazy. We're going to stick to it.
Yeah. Again, if there's anyone at amateur level listening to this, give us an email. You've got the number there. It's 01223 926 867.
Yep.
Yeah, if you're in the amateur game, give us a ring. I mean, how does it affect? I mean, I don't play anymore, so I'm out of touch with with the game. What was our level? The rule changes. We all know they go downhill. So what happens at pre-season training for them? Do they get referees turning up and going, right, from here on, here's the rule change? Do they just get a letter from Huddersfield going, you know what, we went out, we've had a few brandies last night, we've smoked a few cigars, and we've decided we're going to change this, and this season. You've got 3 weeks to get ready for it.
Yeah, I remember I was at Sheffield Eagles. I used to be a big part of the back staff at Sheffield Eagles. I was on the school staff, and I was with Gary Etherington. We used to be in a porter cabin down at Don Valley Stadium. And the year that they decided that Super League was happening, he was in his office, and he came out and he says, "I've got a meeting to go to tomorrow." And we says, "What's happening?" He goes, "They're changing rugby league forever." And Mark Aston was at Featherstone. He'd just come back. I think he was still at Featherstone. So you had Paul Broadbent, and we had all the other guys that was doing the schools, and we all do the schools together. And Paul Broadbent's first words were, "What are changing?" And he says, "Well, put it this way, you won't be able to have a suntan anymore." And he went, "You're joking. They're never going to make us play in 80 degrees." That was the first words out of Paul Broadbent's mouth. And all of a sudden, they just did that. And Gary went to that meeting, the famous meeting at Easter 1994, and they come out and they said, "We're going to merge Castleford with Featherstone, Sheffield Eagles with Doncaster, Wakefield." The best one of the lot was Wakefield, Featherstone, and Castleford are going to become Calder. 3 teams that hated each other's guts so much, and they were going to merge them together. And it was like, what?
Workington, Barrow, and Batley.
Yeah.
Because it's a franchise in Cumbria.
Yeah, they were merging.
Seriously.
They were going to
Barrow and
Batley. Batley and Dewsbury was one. Another one that was going to be.
Warrington Widnes as well.
Yeah, Warrington and Widnes. It was the craziest thing that ever happened, and then all of a sudden they sold it down the railway for 96 million. Was it 96 million they got for that? You know,
off Sky. Yeah.
And then
basically
he saved the game.
League. It did, but then unfortunately we got Steve-O, the video ref. I know, guys, we've digressed from Bradford, but yeah, this is how it's going to happen, I think, for the first few weeks. So bear with us. But, right, Steve-O, the video ref for the first 2 years. Were you part of that, or did you agree with that, or?
I did.
Steve-O never got a call wrong.
I just think that the first couple of years of Super League, in the summer and everything, it was just a trial period just to see if it would work, and then Sky would try and sell the idea to other sports that would switch them over to summer, and said, "Look, Blake's done it."
I can't. I can't grow. I was at Nosey Road the last day of the season when we needed to beat Warrington on the last day, and the title was won after 38 seconds when Alan Hunt went storming down the wing. So, you know what? I love summer rugby. I love it 5 times around. Let's not talk about the 5 we've lost in a row. But yeah, I love summer rugby.
Yeah.
But
speaking as a mascot, one of my jobs was also mascot. Speaking as a mascot, I prefer the winter game. I prefer the winter game. But when
we need both.
Very simply, being in a Sheffield Eagles outfit, and it's 90, and down at Cardiff Arms Park when we played St Helens at a game. And the mascot that was Eagles, he keeled over because he was so hot. He keeled over. I jumped out of my seat, ran across the pitch with some cans of Vimto, I remember, in my hands. Said to him, "Get your outfit off, I'll do it." Put it on, and it was just like walking into a microwave oven. This outfit was just, I'm like, Jesus Christ, help me, Lord. Managed to keep doing the mascot job. I loved it forever for the next few years. But rugby league evolves. But it's not from outside, it's from people inside the game that think that they know better than the game that's been there for over 100 years.
Totally agree. So, I mean, while you were doing that, I was busy sat in the West Stand having fun.
Yeah.
That first season, I mean, it'll be something that lives with me. I remember went to the game, took little cousin, his first ever match in that, and one of the people we knew at the time, she was well in with the Saints crowd, so we were downstairs waiting outside. Tommy Martin pokes his head out the window. "Are you coming up for a drink?" So we goes up, and as we're going back down to the players' bar, there's this little fella carrying this big-ass trophy, and he turned round and he went, "I can't open the doors. Hold on to this for me." And I'm like, ah. Bobby Goulding hands me the Super League trophy. Did I let him walk into the fans' bar lifting that aloft? Did I, heck?
Yeah, exactly.
Moment, walked into the fans' bar at Nosey Road and lifted that trophy up over my head.
Yeah, this is one for the Bulls fans. I mean, we've got a Bulls lover in our chat room now at bwrradio.com/live shows. With 97, when Bulls won the title, they went to Don Valley Stadium and broke the attendance record at the stadium. We had they said there was about 10,500 fans there, and I swear there was 9,000 Bulls fans. They went on the pitch and everything, and I was coming off the pitch, and I saw the match ball in front of my eyes.
Yeah.
And I went, I'm having that. Grabbed the match ball, shoved it up my jumper, was walking out of the stadium, and this guy says, and I've got it under my arm, and this guy said to me, "Is that the match ball?" And I went, "Yeah." And he went, "I'll give you 100 quid for it right now." And as I put my arm out, this tour rag ran past me and grabbed the ball. And so I never got my 100 quid, and I lost the ball at the same time. But I remember when the Bulls won the two.
You sound like a proper Union player now.
Yeah. I think the Bulls, we'll get back to Bradford now. The Bulls personified what's happened with Super League. Because up to 94, 96, they were Bradford Northern. They had 3,000 people at Oddsall. They weren't drawing flies. They were dying. A chief executive, Peter Deakin, went in, I think his name was, and he was like the messiah at the time of rugby league, because if you got him as a chief executive, you knew he was going to do magical things and change the club around. And I think he did, because they signed all these players, came in, Steve McNamara, James Lowes, they had all these good lads that was in there, and they went to it. Now, I don't think no disrespect to anybody, but I think when Sam Burgess left Bradford, that was one of the start of it, because if you can't keep hold of your kids, and he's a local lad, and you can't keep hold of your kids, then he's got to leave to progress your kid. There's got to be something wrong at that club that says, what are we doing so wrong that kids don't want to play for the Bradford Bulls and they live in Bradford?
I mean, look, if you look at it now, I mean, I said this a couple of years ago. There's a mate of mine, one of my best mates, Greg, and I turned around and said, when Saints took Nathan Brown on, I mean, I haven't got access to the chat room or whatever at the moment, so I don't know how many people are tuning in or anything. I hope there's some.
Yeah, we've got a few.
You know what I mean? Well, that's good. I mean, is there any comments or anything coming up, mate? Or
it's just It's just some. I mean, the Bulls love it. He's a great guy, and he's involved with the Bradford Bulls wheelchair people.
Fantastic.
So
fantastic.
But
well, tell him to put tell us about them, and we'll give him a shout out. That's the idea. Any form of this game. But you look at it now. I mean, you said about Bradford not having the youth. Youth players young players want to go anywhere. I mean, someone out there or yourself, Dean, correct me if I'm wrong. This is where I think Leeds and Warrington are going to start to struggle now. I know Leeds are top at the moment, and people go, well, how are we struggling? But I can't really see who's coming through at Leeds at the moment because the old guard is still there. Sinfield. Now we all know. I'm going to get stick for this, but we all know Kevin Sinfield's a head referee at RFL. Lord Sir Kevin Sinfield, the greatest rugby league player who ever donned a pair of boots. Let me just bow down. Don't get me started. I've started. I'm going to shoot on Kevin Sinfield. Yeah, I'm not being funny. There's 3 players down in Australia who saw that when Kevin Sinfield won the best player in the world of the decade of all time ever. And I'm not being funny. Cooper Cronk, Darren Lockyer, and what's his name? Billy Joe Slater sat there, looked at that, wiped the backside on it, and went, "Yeah, whatever, mate."
Yeah, exactly.
Seriously. Kevin Sinfield is a good player, don't get me wrong. And as much as it kills me to say as a Saints fan, I do not hold Kevin Sinfield responsible for us losing that semi-final. He played his heart he played his heart out that semi-final. So when people sit there and go, Sinfield missed that tackle when New Zealand went in at last minute, I don't blame him for a second. There were other players on that pitch who Kevin Sinfield helped carry that day. So, yeah, that killed me to say, actually.
Yeah,
that really hurt to say. I want to blame Kevin Sinfield for us not getting battered by Australia in the final. But no, I can't do it. He has played his heart out, but I don't think he's the greatest player in the history of rugby league. Anyway, rant over.
People will disagree. People will disagree.
I know. Wait, yeah. I've just been barred from Leeds.
Yeah. It's all right.
Well, no, I mean,
when I get my mate on, it was the conditioning. You can have a go at him about Sinfield.
No. I was just asking. But yeah, Warrington are in transition. Leeds, yeah, they are top. But where are the kids at the moment? I mean, shout out the kids who are coming through at Leeds. Shout me out the kids who are coming through at Warrington. At the moment, I mean, Saints have been in transition for 6 years. I thought we'd win the Challenge Cup this year. Once again, the balls went in the freezer, but these things happen. And yeah, Richard Silverwood's a whole different run. But at the end of the day, Saints are starting to see the next wave of youth coming through. I mean, Castleford, where's that come from? But at the moment, I just can't see the younger ones coming through at Warrington, the younger ones coming through at Leeds.
Well, Wigan's had to do it. I mean, I know it pains you as a Saints fan to say it, but I look at Wigan, and because they lost so many players, and Sean Wayne's had to say, I've had to go to the kids. I've had to see who can step up, and if they can swim and survive. If not, we'll just get rid of them. And it's a dog eat dog. You'll always find that 17-year-old that wants to play his heart out, and he'll do whatever it takes to pull on that shirt and be so proud of the fact. It's always been the same, no matter from day one of rugby league in general. You'll always find that kid that's always says, what do you want to be when you grow up? I want to be, like in the 80s, I want to be Ellery Hanley. I want to be Andy Gregory, Sean Edwards.
Whereas now you've got heroes now. I want to be Kevin Sinfield. I want to be Rob Burrow. I want to be Sam Tompkins. I want to be Burgess. I want to be James, Lomax. I want to be Paul Wellings. I want to be the Sheffield Eagles mascot.
Yeah.
I want to be Dean Mitchell. But and that's what another thing that I do love about rugby league, because the kids they're still in the towns and they still want to do it. And for them, the desire isn't, I want to be a footballer, I want to be a Hollywood actor, I want to be a millionaire and all this. There are kids still out there who go, I want to play rugby league. I want to be in the Challenge Cup final. I want to be at Old Trafford for the grand final. I want to pull the British Lions shirt on an England shirt. Yeah. And, it does. The future's there. We just need to tap it again.
It does. There'll always be the conveyor belt. I mean, we're losing. Everybody's going on. We're losing players to rugby union, and that's always happened. We've always had that. We used to have it in the 80s and 90s. All the rugby union guys coming up, but that's changed.
Yeah.
The problem is now with the salary cap as it stands, there is more people that's wanting to. There's more people now that's wanting to like. Your career is only a short career. Prime example of this is Sam Burgess. He's over in Australia. He's got the lifestyle he's dreamed of, what he's always wanted. Yeah. He's all of a sudden he's played in a Rugby League World Cup. He's the biggest star that's come out of England Rugby League in ages. He's holding his own in the NRL. He's making everybody go, hey, look at these guys. Hey, these English guys are actually some badasses. And now he's just said, Bath Rugby and RFL have said, oh, well, if we pay you this much money and everything, come and play in us. He signed a 2.5-year contract. That's just going to take him up to after the Rugby Union World Cup. If he makes it, he'll play in the World Cup. If he doesn't, he'll go straight back to South Sydney. I can see it happening. And Bath have already said they're going to turn him into a centre. The kid's 18 stone, 18, 19 stone, whatever, and they're making him a centre? Which
the guy... Don't forget before the watershed.
Nearly did it. Yeah, but it's crazy the fact that it's like, why are you doing it? Why are they taking the biggest star in World Rugby League that is a prop forward by a mile and go, oh yeah, he'll be a centre? Sure, come on, but it's Rugby Union for you. They don't know what they've got.
No, well, they're going to know. I'm not being funny. I'll give it. And you know what, though? The thing is, I'll still watch the other code because God Almighty, when Sam Burgess hits that first tackle in Union, they're going to know they've been hit.
When he runs,
you know what I mean?
If he runs anybody, well, no matter that first game for Bath, when he pulls on that jersey and he runs out, and that other centre looks and says, "Oh God, I've got 80 minutes of him," and it's just going to change him forever. They've just done it because they know for a fact that, I mean, look at the successful converts. I mean, Andy Farrell, how
he's become a better Union coach than.
Yeah, I think. Look at all the Rugby League guys. I mean, sorry, but look at all the Rugby League guys that's now coaches in Premiership. In rugby, I mean, you got Sean Edwards, you got Mike Ford, you got Andy Farrell with England, Sean Edwards with Wales. Yeah. And it's full of Rugby League. You mean Darryl Powell was coach at Leeds Carnegie before he went back to Featherstone.
That's it. And now, I mean, it's amazing because, you know, Union sits there and goes, oh, League's the poorer relation and all that. Well, if it's that poorer relation, why do you keep stealing our talent?
Yeah.
You know, why'd you come and raid Super League? Why'd you raid the NRL? And not just players, coaches as well. I get a guy down here and he's convinced that Rugby League is terrible. And I turned round to him and I said, Rugby League's so bad, yeah? And he went, yeah. I says, what was the name of the person that scored the try in the Rugby Union Cup final for England? And he went, Jason Robinson. I went, yeah, where did he come from? Get him from, yeah.
And he went, well, where was the defence coach of the England Rugby Union? Where did he come from? Phil Larder. Oh, yeah. The league. Yeah? Now tell us we're shit. Sorry, swear. There we go. But it's always in Rugby League and Rugby Union. You'll never be happy. They'll never say anything. But
it's us Northerners. It is. You know, it's them Northerners trying to. But you know what? I mean, I do watch both codes. But if you turn around and put a gun to my head and say, "What are you watching?" It's League every time. If you turn around and say, you've got to watch one of the two, you've got to pick. Yeah, give me the 30 side any day of the week.
I got slated this year. I think it was the Six Nations when there was 3 games. And in them 3 games, there was like 4 tries in the whole 3 games. And I put a picture up of a rugby pitch and I put an arrow to it. And I went, for Union fans that don't know what this is what you call a try line. And I put an arrow there and the slating I got was amazing. But it's true.
Scrums. Oh my God. Scrums.
We can't say anything about scrums because our scrums are a joke. I mean,
right, I'm not being funny. How long does the league scrum last? 1-2 seconds?
Yeah.
Right, so by the time you have crouch, touch, pause, turn, pirouette, engage.
Do you know what's missing?
Do you know what I mean?
Do you know what's missing now? It's missing a guy with a violin going, just leading the country dance, isn't it, really? That's all that's missing.
I mean, Brian Moore, God love him, when he commentates on the Six Nations, and he was a hooker. He was in the scrums constantly. And if he's annoyed with how long, what was it? There was one game I was watching, and what was it? One scrum took 7.5 minutes. The game's 80.
Yeah.
7.5 minutes. Rugby league, yeah. The scrum is just a restart. But hey, it's done. It's over in 2 seconds. The scrum half passes the ball to the loose forward, and that's it. You're done. You're dusted. You're away.
Got a question. We've got a question from our chat room.
Our first question.
Our first question ever on the 4020 Rugby League show. If you want to ring us on 01223 926867, or just pop in our chat room at bwrradio.com and click on live show.
Is this last show, is it?
Hey, sorry?
This question isn't, this is our last show.
No. It's was there a moment or game that turned you into a rugby league fan?
Go on, you first, mate.
Honestly, I never forgot it. I was 15 and was at an event called the Sheffield Show, and there was a team kicking balls over the posts, and it just said Sheffield Eagles Rugby League team, first game tomorrow against Rochdale Hornets. And me and my younger brother said, I wonder if they want ball boys. I wonder if they want some ball boys. So we went up to this guy and we said, do you need any ball boys? And he says, yes, we do actually. Are you interested? Said, yeah. Didn't realise it was Gary Edvington. Didn't realise anything about all these players. And all of a sudden it was like, yeah, he says, come down tomorrow this time and we'll give you 50p a game. Went to the match and was just blown away, the facts of it. And I just got so involved in it, and I went like that. And we came off and we walked straight up to the guys and went, is there a junior section? And then we started wanting to play. And then on Monday nights down in Sheffield, we used to get a bunch of us, and there were about 30, 40 guys that just went playing rugby on a Monday night and just learning the game. At Christmas, I think it was Christmas, we did it for 2 years without giving a game. And then at the end of 86, we had an Australian guy come over and give us a few coaching sessions, Cliff Lyons. And he was playing for the Eagles. And we was like, wow, Cliff Lyons. And because we got into the involvement of the game then, I've never looked back since, but that was mine. Going back and just asking to be a ball boy, and then blown away.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I mean, who was it who asked that question anyway?
This guy called Ross. I'm one of my guys.
Cool, Ross. Right. For me, it was a girl I was seeing at the time, and I was playing Union, and I was pretty good at Union. I played for Merseyside, played for Lancashire. You know, I was not flirting around the edge of the England youth setup, but I could have got there if I'd have tried a bit harder. And I started seeing this girl, and she went, do you want to come and watch rugby league with us? And I was like, I'm a Union boy. And she went, oh, come along, because it was a girl, you want to impress them. So I was like, yeah, all right. And for me, the moment, daft as it sounds, I didn't see a tackle. I didn't see a tackle, a hit up, a play the ball, anything. Once we walked down from Throssell's Nest to the top of Dunriding Road in St Helens, and you can't see the ground. You can't see it. And I was like, where is it? Where's the ground? Where's the ground? You can't see the floodlights, anything. And she says, it'll hit you. And when it does, you'll know. And she said, it does one or two things to you. You're either mesmerised or you just think, is that it? And I just remember the girl I was dating, she went with her mate and her fella, and her mates knocked at her nan's house, and there's about 20 of us, and they lived about 30 yards from the ground, mate, and you couldn't see it. And next thing, bang, there it was, the little lawn in front of it, and the first team was just, doing the training drills.
Yeah.
And I hadn't stepped foot in the ground. I hadn't paid a penny to walk in the ground, and I fell in love with it, and it was just like, whoa. And I honestly, You know, the hooter hadn't gone, nothing. I walked in the ground, Nosey Road, as most Saints fans know, God love it. It was a hellhole. It was a hit all over ground. There was no ceiling on the gents' toilets. You peed in roof guttering. The ladies were porta cabins. You know, you stood on the popular stand, and you know the flags were everywhere.
Yeah.
You know, you told.
Yeah, it's just
fans. He only had one, mate. I fell in love with him before I walked in the ground, and she said that's what happened.
Yeah,
but mate.
Yes, we're just for those that if Hank Kilt's out, it's because he's on his phone and his internet's a bit rubbish. So don't worry about his phone. It's okay. It's all right. We're doing a show. We promised you guys a show tonight, so that's what we're doing. You are listening to the 40-20 Rugby League show. Get back to this Bradford situation if we can. I think when you look back. And you look at it now, I'm great they've got a stable footing. The people I feel sorry for are all them people that lost their jobs. At the end of the day, that bust their balls, that bust their backsides trying to raise money for that club over the last 18, 24 months, how long as long it's been they've had these money problems. They turned up in the morning, wasn't even going to get paid. You had coaches that said, he wouldn't go because of the cost of petrol, and then they got a company that said, "Well, he can fill his petrol up at our place for free." So it brought the community of Bradford together, but then at the same time, it's like, where the hell did all that money go? And now they're back to square one. And all these players went, I've got a family to support here. Where's my next £5 or when's my next £10 coming from? Because this club ain't going to pay me. And odds they've had one thing that I always laugh at is when they say, "Oh, we're redeveloping Odsal Stadium." That's been going on as long as time's been going on itself. So do you look at the Bulls and
mate, it's a shame.
Do you think? If the worst thing happened to the Bulls, that they got relegated at the end of the season and went into this fiasco of league setup next season, do you give him
should we discuss that one on another show? I think we need to sit down and have a state of the league, not a state of the union.
No,
a state of the league address. I think.
But if Bradford went down, could they regroup and come back stronger? Or would the championship, as it stands at this moment, with Featherstone, Leigh, Sheffield, Halifax, all these clubs that's in there that are battling to get to the Super League, do you think if Bradford did, it's a mixture. It's like, well, would they, wouldn't they, would they? But it'd be a chance for them to regroup. And,
honestly, no. The way Widnes got faffed around, I just get this feeling that I don't know. I think if Bradford as a town loses Super League status, it will, as a town, I don't know if it even reluctantly will turn its head back to the football team. I think it will die, unfortunately, a slow, lingering death. And we could be sat here in 10, 15 years' time and going, do you remember?
Yeah.
I don't want it to happen, but I've got this horrible feeling if Bradford cannot, if they pull out this slump and they survive this season, they'll survive and they'll thrive again. They can't, I can't, it's hard because Bradford should not be in this position.
No.
They shouldn't be. But it is what it is. They are in this position. Can they survive? If they survive, mate, yes. If they get relegated, no.
Yeah.
But like I said right at the top of this, mate, and I don't know if you want to segue into it nicely, there's two words that could save them, and that's London Broncos.
Yeah, right, we'll get into that now.
If there's a club in more of a state than Bradford, you're talking it.
Right, we'll just go through the weekend's results and then we'll get into the London discussion. Right, this weekend's results. In the Kingston Press Championship 1, we had South Wales 16, Gateshead 50. Gloucestershire All Goals 20, Hemel Stags 21. Oldham 48, Oxford 28. York 36, London Scholars 16. We had Kingston Press Championship, Batley Bulldogs 10, Whitehaven 30. North Wales Crusaders 6, Sheffield Eagles 56. Doncaster 30,
Wow.
Barrow 28. Featherstone 10, Lee 29. Keighley 40, Dewsbury 20. Rochdale 31, Swinton Lions 16. Workington 20, Halifax 20. Super League, Bradford Bulls 34, Warrington Wolves 28. Huddersfield Giants 29, Castleford 28. Hull FC 16, Wakefield Wildcats 23. Hull KR 29, Widnes Vikings 34. St Helens 48, London Broncos 18. Leeds Rhinos 28, Wigan Warriors 12. Hooray!
Right, you did well there. You've got a career.
Yeah. Bullshit. And lastly, we had a couple of international matches. We had the qualifier for the Four Nations in down south, down under. Fiji 16, Samoa 32. So Samoa will be with the Australians, the Kiwis, and the English lads in the Four Nations at the end of this year. Oh, and forgot Catalan
Dragons for third place.
Yeah, that's the fourth place one. Yeah, they're going in that one now. And we forgot one.
The results to mention.
Forgot one. Catalan Dragons 37, Salford 24.
We've got a couple of other results to mention. Have you done your research?
I haven't done because I've got. If I did Hillsborough Hawks, they're starting in a couple of weeks with the summer season, so I've got to get hold of them yet.
Right. Okay. Right. So your White Rose team, Dean and I have decided we're going to adopt teams for while this show's on. Dean's got his Hillsborough Hawks affiliation and play for them. Yeah. I've got my affiliated team, and if they are listening, if there's anyone in the chat room, they better be, because they said they were going to Burton Wood Bridge Rugby League. They start. Why are you laughing? Why are you laughing? We're going to be on their shirts. Well, do you know what? My boys won this weekend.
Good on them.
30-24. Can't remember who they played because I didn't write it down. Right, but it doesn't matter because they won. Right, so I want to give a shout out to my try scorers. We got Knowles, who put 2 over. Roach, Shelley, Riley, and Bowie or Bowie. I can't pronounce it.
Yeah, he's gone a bit. But he'll be back in a sec. It's just his signal. But Gazzy's gone away for a minute. We'll just talk about get the thing to. Yeah, hold on. Yeah, just disappear for a bit, mate.
Is that okay?
Yeah, that's fine. No, yeah, but go on, carry on. You just said Bowie and then you disappeared.
Right. Right, Rafferty needs to get his kicking boots on 3 out of 6. That's disgusting. All right, extra kicking practice for Rafferty this weekend. If he doesn't get full marks, I want him changed. I want him dropped. Anthony Dorr got man of the match. And that is my match report from Burton Wood Bridge Rugby League. So if Lee Cunningham's listening, told you get a shout out. I'll shout you out again next week when you give me the scoreline.
Bulls Lover's just come up with a comment about our little discussion. He said, would we have any players, Lauf? Because all our players are on Super League only contracts. They will all leave if we get relegated. Good point. That's a good point. Which players would they have?
That.
Yeah, I think, very simply, he'd have all the Salford Red Devils. I think they would be finished because that's it. Right, come on in, Broncos. Let's do the Broncos. This week they sacked their biggest stalwart of their lives in Tony Ray. They sacked him as their head coach and replaced him yesterday with a gentleman by the name of Joe Grimmer, who was the assistant coach down at St George Illawarra for a few years. Is this another nail in the coffin?
Joe Grimmer got a lot. Oh, mate, London Broncos should have been buried a long, long time ago. I wrote a blog on it years ago, about 18 months ago, I'll dig it out. They've played everywhere from Craven Cottage to Stamford Bridge, to the Stoop. They've been everywhere, they've been everything. Again, another RFL project that should have just died years ago. Brisbane got involved. The closest they've ever come to winning a title in their history was second back in the 80s or the early 90s.
Yeah,
well, do you know what?
Yeah, I remember that. Well, look at the guys. Well, look at the different guys as they've had. Started as Fulham, Then they went to London Crusaders. Then Broncos. Then Harlequins. Back to Broncos. Yeah, they've had all these different names, and they've said, "Oh, if we change his name, we'll get the people in because of the name." No, you won't. I actually went to see the Broncos play, and because when I was living in London, down about 10 years ago, I actually went to see him down at the Brentford Griffin Park Stadium ground.
Yeah,
I'll use that one. Great little family atmosphere. Don't get me wrong. I watched them play Rhinos and I watched them play Huddersfield Giants, and I was impressed by the setup and everything. But it's the crowds. They just don't get it. They just don't get the crowds. They could offer free tickets to any Londoner for a year, and they still won't get the crowds at London.
Well, do you know what? I mean, I saw something on Groupon early, the second game of the season, their first home game of the season, and you can get 2 tickets for a tenner. Do you know how many offers have been sold? 22.
It's crazy. They are just. Oh.
Do you know what? I mean, the ultimate. If there's a London Broncos fan listening to this, which I doubt, because given the simple reason is this. When we played them on Thursday night, you've got to credit them because the away stand, they all turned up as concrete.
Yeah.
They all turned up as concrete. Or, if there were any fans there, I'm not being funny, Luke Walsh was kicking into an empty stand. There were, at one point, when we were attacking the away end, there were 3 people in that stand, and they were the ball boys.
There is a hardcore, but if you're on Sky, I mean, you look at the point. If you're going to come up from London on a Thursday night, you'll have to finish work. You'll have to finish work early. 2, that's going to lose your money in first place. Then you've got to drive all the way up to St Helens. There's not many in the first place because I've seen them firsthand. The Broncos fans away, there's not a lot of them. So how?
Catalan bring more, don't they?
Catalan have got a great following.
Their away support's unbelievable now.
Their away and their home fans are crazy.
They've got into it. They've bought into it. That's the one thing for what don't get me wrong, guys, if you're listening, ladies, this isn't going to be a weekly bitching session, right? So let's give some props to something Super League's done right. Catalan. Stick a rugby team in a rugby heartland and you will get the fans. I know London is a rugby heartland, but it's been too embedded. In France, they don't give a toss if it's Union, League, Beach Rugby, Women's Rugby, 7s, 9s, 13s, 21 aside. If it's a game of rugby with an oval ball and sticks in an H shape at either end, they will watch it. The French are rugby nuts.
It is. I mean, there's another town. It's in Australia called Melbourne. A friend of mine once said you could put 2 cockroaches down the street in Melbourne and they'll bet on it.
Yeah.
Melbourne's crazy. Well, if you put a rugby team in Melbourne, I love what's happened with Melbourne Storm. Last year was the point with Melbourne because they got battered with that salary cap fine. They couldn't get any points and everything, and they still sold out. They still supported them like crazy. There was no point in playing, but they said, "Oh, we're not bothered. We'll just play it." But London, I just think it hurts me as so much because with the Eagles in the late 90s, when we merged with Huddersfield, we had no help from the RFL. We had no help from Super League or anything like that. Why is it London Broncos had to be the golden goose that didn't give back? It just kept receiving, just kept giving us, give us the money, and it never gave anything back to the game.
Goes back to what we said earlier. Once the RFL, the old farts, to quote Will Carlin, the old farts in Huddersfield or in their office, once they've got a bee in their bonnet and they want something, they're going to keep going. They're going to keep going at it. And they've gone at it and gone at it and gone at it and gone at it. And here we are. Right. Finally, are they going to take the hint? Because how many games are we into the Super League season? 10, 11?
11 games.
11 in 16 weeks, it ends.
Yeah.
It all ends in September. And for me, I cannot wait. Because when London Broncos goes, we get a team that want to play in Super League and want to succeed. We will get a Lee, we will get a Sheffield, we will get a Halifax, a Featherstone, a Batley, a Barrow, a Workington. We are going to get teams who want to be there. We are going to get teams who bring fans that will travel home and away.
Yeah.
We get a heartland back. So, yeah, mate, do you know what? I know you say it might pay you, but do you know what? This long, slow demise of London Broncos, they've sacked Tony Ray. I feel sorry for the guys that are still there because they're going to be like the Bradford lads. They're going to be looking for another club next year. Yeah. But there are clubs who are coming up who will snap them up with open arms.
Do you know which club I want down? I mean, I know this is going to... This sounds like...
I don't know who's coming up, but God, it's exciting.
Yeah, but it's going to sound like we're bitching and everything about rugby league. No, we're not. It's just the fact that we've been looking at it. This is our voice and ourselves. We're trying to get this over. Yeah. The team I want down is because I believe now it's just been proved that you can't throw 13 individuals together and say, right, they're a team, make them a team.
I know where you're going, Salford.
It's absolutely crazy. I mean, this guy's come in, oh yes, I'll buy the club and I'll spend all this money. Rangi Chase, Gareth Hawke. I'll get all these great people in, these all great players. Yeah, hold on. Rangi Chase got suspended at Castleford for all the stuff that's went off it. Gareth Hawke, let's not even go with Gareth Hawke. You've got all these players that off the pitch are more famous for doing things off the pitch than they are on the bloody thing. And you want to put them together as a team. I feel sorry for people like Adrian Morley because he's left Warrington to go to Salford and they've said, oh, yeah, well, this is going to happen. Brian Noble was there. Yeah, we're going to do it. And they get rid of Brian Noble. And what has Estin Harris got that Brian Noble hasn't? Apart from a bit of more hair. Brian Noble's a... If Brian Noble could... If Brian Noble could turn around the Crusaders as he did, and if he could turn around all the clubs he's been to, and he took Bradford to all them grand finals and everything like that when he was at Bradford, and he can't get Salford going. Gee, God. I think Salford's just dead enough because as soon as he gets pissed off, he's definitely had it. That I think they've definitely had it. Salford.
But do you know what? It amuses me because you see him. I mean, if you follow him on Twitter, do you know what? Screw that. Don't follow him. Follow his parody account at Dr. Cockrash on Twitter. That man has got Marvin Cockrash down to a T. If you want to see naked pictures of Joel Monaghan, there's your man to go to. With Joel Monaghan with dogs, there's your man to go to. Are we not allowed to talk about Joel Monaghan getting sacked for being with a dog? And I don't mean like...
I didn't know about that. No, I saw it.
Really? You didn't know about Joel Monaghan at the end of the season?
No, I didn't.
That's why he got fired, mate, because he got favours off a dog at a barbecue.
Oh, dear me.
Right, so there you go. So he got snapped up by Warrington. But anyway, but you've got Cockrash who's turning around and going, right, I want to sign Sam Tompkins. I want to bring Sonny Bill Williams to Super League. I want to do this. I want to change the world. Cockrash needs to learn one thing, and it's what rugby league fans have known since time immemorial. The people who run this game do not have a clue about this game.
Yeah.
They think every winter they sit there and they go, we took Boxing Day games off them. What else can we do? What else can we do? Here, Cockrash is talking about raise the salary cap, do this, do that. Bradford are in administration again. You've got half the clubs in the Kingston Press Championship and Championship 1 who play semi-pro.
Yeah.
Some of them are still amateur. These lads play for the love of the game. And you've got Cockrash, who's basically, God love him, opened the home for misfits at Salford. Done something wrong in your career? Come and play for me.
Yeah.
But the only guy, Adrian Morley, what? You need one more season? Come on. I'll give you the money.
Yeah, I'll cover your testimonial where you should have got. Yeah, I'll cover that.
We all know that's why Warrington got shot.
Yeah, I think you look at him and it's like, what's next? Where's if he's not going to be happy with this group of players, what's he going to do towards the end of the season? Say, oh, I'll sack him and then I'll get some more in and get some more in. When he announced that 12 players, he announced, was it 12 that signed for him? And it was
12 in a week, wasn't it?
It was Rangi Chase and all these other guys. What's Rangi Chase done this year? I know Dowell at Castleford, he was upset to lose the guy, but at the same time, maybe Dowell was like, well, hey, look what's happened at Castleford since he's gone. I mean, if ever there was a...
I think Rangi Chase starts off. I think so after Cass.
I think Rangi Chase must be looking now and going, hold on a minute, where did Castleford Tigers go when I was there? And you look at all these and it's like, no way. And Cass are the success story this year. I don't know what Dowell's done. I don't know what Dowell Powell's done, but it sounds as if I'm kissing ex-Sheffield Eagles ass players as asses, and it really does. I'm not really. But Dowell's done it. Dowell's one of these guys that's done it. He's been under the radar. He did it at Featherstone. He did it at Leeds. He did it. Everywhere he's been, he's always made it better than he was. And now he's doing it at his own club, at Cass.
You know what, mate? In hindsight, 3 words: sold Rangi Chase.
Yeah, he got rid of him, and
that's what Castle found. Rangi Chase.
Yeah.
Got rid of the bad influences at the club. Do you know what? Another one. It doesn't overly pain me to say it, but even though he scored 2 against us the other week, well, some players are meant to be at certain. Michael Shenton had a run at Saints. It didn't work out for him. He's gone back to Cass. He's on fire again. Some players just should be at certain clubs, and in Michael Shenton's case, Cass is the club for him.
Yeah,
he plays well. They play to his strengths. He's loved and adored by the fans. He came to Saints with a lot of fanfare, didn't start off well, and therefore, because with Saints being in transition, as you know, more so back then when Shenton came, he was the right player for Saints at the wrong time. He's gone back to Cass. He's on fire. He put 2 stalling tries over against us. You know, and mate, that guy's he's scoring tries for fun again. Some players belong at certain clubs, and you know, Shenton at Cass, what Cass are doing, you know, God, I hope it continues, because it'll be nice to see a different name in the playoffs.
Yeah. We've just had a request from Bulls Loving in the chat room. He says Wales Rugby League wheelchair side are looking for a team manager, head coach, and also an assistant coach. If anyone is listening, interested if anybody's interested, any of the posts, email your CV to mark.jones@walesrugbyleague.com.
Right, we'll make sure we throw that on the Facebook page and Twitter as well. I'm thanks, Bulls Lover, but I'm not available.
No, I did my coaching days have gone as well. I did my coaching days was a girls team. I did my first coaching position ever was
hang on a minute. I'm just pressing the button here for Operation U Tree. Go on.
Yeah, all right. My first job of doing it was a under 10s, under 11s rugby league team called Stocksbridge Sharks in Sheffield. And then they moved to Warncliffe Side, and we had the longest name in rugby league history. We had Warncliffe Side Dragons, and then I got coaxed back to my old rugby league team of Sheffield Eagles Juniors, which became the Hillsborough Hawks, and they were starting a girls team. And me and a young lad called Jason Davidson, who's now at Leeds Rhinos, as the conditioner, we was the coaching setup, and we just transformed it. We did everything. We treated it as though they were the pros. These girls were pros, and we all signed the CRB checks. We was all above board. Everything was set up, and this was 1994. And then the girls team went, and I went to a boys team and did an under 13s. But my coaching career, I would love it. I'd love to have another crack at it. I'd love to get my matches back easily.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's just something. It's something I'd like to do, but again, it's finding time at the moment. However, I am available for free consultations and tactics.
Yeah.
No, I'm happily. Any tactics or anything, just give us a shout.
Yeah. If anybody thinks that we just sit reminiscing about the 90s, my latest thing is I've been a part of St Ives Roosters down here in East Anglia. I live down in between Cambridge and Peterborough. They do the conference season every year. They're just starting the league this week. The Rugby League Conference Merit League, I think it is, in the St Ives Roosters with Kings Lynn and Bury St Edmunds and Milton Keynes Wolves, I think they're called as well. All these are the teams that's around here as well. So there's Rugby League bases all over the place. So it's nice to see it down here, and I was giving them guys some hands with their fundraising and things. So
that's fantastic.
Really
that is fantastic. But anyway, I want to ask your take on now, if we want to move on to, right, having a look at, for me, not so much a bitching session, but more a question for you, mate. Are our refs in the live games becoming too reliant on the video ref?
Yes. Easily.
Because now there's 2 video refs.
Yeah.
Because the World Cup had 2 video refs. Do you know what I mean? This is something else where it seems to just Frankenstein's monsters evolved itself. All of a sudden, I mean, I watched. I can't remember the team, so I apologise. I watched the Super League game last week, and there were 10 tries, and all 10, he went to the video ref. Any other week, any other game, he's giving them decisions with his lino team.
Yeah.
Why all of a sudden do the refs not have the confidence? Do you know what? They go to the video refs, but you know what? I'm going to plug the refs here, right? I miss a bit of controversy.
Yeah.
I miss that moment. I can't be bothered with Eddie and Steve-O arguing. Yeah. I want to see Ben Thaler give a try. It goes back to the video ref, and I want Eddie and Steve-O sat there arguing and going, "Why didn't he go to the screen?"
Yeah,
he got it wrong. Let's have a controversial decision every now and again. It's becoming too sterile.
I've got the funniest thing involving the video ref from last year. It was at Catalan. I think it was against St Helens, and there was a decision, and the video ref got it wrong, and everybody in the crowd thought that Brian O'Carney was the video ref.
Yeah,
he was sat next to Steve-O in the gantry. Yes. Everybody was looking at the gantry thinking that was the video ref, and Brian Carney got so much abuse from all the Catalan fans because he thought that they did the wrong decision, and they were saying it on TV because all the Catalan fans are going to start throwing things at us here because they think Brian's the ref. He's not the ref, and they were literally having to speak in French live on air while his fans was going to bottle bloody Brian Carney because they thought he was a video ref, and all because he was sat next to Steve-O.
Yeah, but I mean, I remember that through when Super League started. Now, if you went to the old Nosey Road, you'll remember it really, really well. You'll remember the setup. Eddie and Steve-O would present like the half-hour pre-show. They present it from at Nosey Road. It was like a porter cabin on stilts.
Yes. Yep.
And they present it from that, and they come down the stairs, and the commentary gantry at Nosey Road was right in the middle of the popular stand.
Yeah.
So they had to walk the gauntlet. Oh. And when Saints were live, they made the deliberate point of... Because there was like, as they come out the porter cabin, they'd be like literally up against the back wall access. They'd make a point of locking the gate.
Yeah.
So they'd have to walk the full length of the popular stand in front of it. And Steve-O... Yeah. Fair play to him. How he survived it, I'll never know. No wonder he hates Saints.
I got this feeling when Eddie and Steve-O decide to hang up their microphones, I think we've lost 2 of the biggest characters in rugby league history. I really do.
2 of the biggest characters in commentary.
Yeah, they've done so much for the game. Mick Stevenson and Eddie Emmons have done so much for this game. They've been there now over 20 years together, called all the matches. They've been there at the best of times. They've been there at the worst. They've seen the best matches in the world. They've seen the best fights that's ever been happening in the world. Because whenever there's a fight, Steve-O's going to say, "Oh, look, there's the claret." Oh, wave every 2 seconds. They're a part of rugby league now, as though like the loose forward used to wear number 13. They're always.
I love the way Steve-O's commentary. When there's a fight, if the camera's not on it, you're like, "Oh, there we go."
Yep, there we go.
And that's it then. That's the cue for the camera to go woof. And then
Yeah, he's never been afraid to show his opinion.
And but I mean, people, if you aren't, you remember, it's like Mike Stevenson. Oh God, no, God no. Mike Stevenson, what the first player to go to Australia, wasn't he?
Yeah, something like that.
But the thing is, there's a lot of things that people don't realise that Mike Stevenson's done for the game. Because Australia is that big, Mike Stevenson bought a train. And the Rugby League Hall of Fame in Australia runs the train lines. It's a train. It's a fully working, moving train. And he takes it round the country.
Yeah.
And, there's things like that. If you're outside the Rugby League, you don't know that. Do you know what I mean? You just think he's a bald-headed, bolshy guy who... likes to shout his mouth off on a Thursday, Friday night. But what he's done for rugby league, first English player to go to Australia, first Englishman to be ever sent off in an international, but a World Cup winner.
Yeah.
Although how you can win a World Cup by drawing against France, I'll never know. But he's done it. He's got a World Cup winners medal.
Yep.
There's nothing in the game this guy hasn't done. He's won the NRL title. He's won the old Division 1. He's won the Challenge Cup. He's won it all. So you might like what Steve-O says, but when he talks, you listen.
And he's always on all the shows. I love watching that Super League back chat. I do like watching that when I get the chance.
Yeah.
But I think...
the average the kickoff is because Eddie Hemmings is a Saints fan.
Yeah.
And everyone used to complain of Eddie Hemmings' Saints bias on commentary. But no one complained about Steve-O's anyone but Saints attitude.
Yeah. And before we go any further, I've got to give a shout out to Pevan Spear, who was our Rugby League correspondent down under, because he sent us a match report from the Australia versus New Zealand match last week. So thanks very much to Pez for that one. He sent us a great one. Yeah, he said, can I send you reports from down under? I went, you bet your ass you can, sunshine. He's a massive North Queensland Cowboys fan. I don't know why he's picked Cowboys, but go Bennett. I think it's because he's the closest to where he lives. And he was big. And when I met him, he was the biggest rugby union fan in the world. And now he'll only watch rugby league. And I'm thinking, there you go. That shows you colours.
He's got Jammer down there as well, James Graham.
Yeah, James Graham's. Oh, bloody hell, Mr. Graham. Yeah, let's get suspended for about 8 games for biting. I think he's allowed back now, isn't he? I think he's just come back, hasn't he?
Yeah, I think he's back now. Biting, thumbs to the eye. There's nothing our little Ginger Ninja won't do.
Yeah.
At least he fits in that well down there in the NRL, doesn't he?
Oh yeah. There's a few lads that's down there that's like. There's Sam Tompkins. I think, with the exception of Sam Tompkins, all the lads down here English are probably forwards. Oh, I think George.
Yeah, the Army.
I think there's George or Tom Burgess that's a back as well, but everything else is forwards. And
there's about 25 Burgesses, aren't there? I mean, Russell Crowe's just got them all, hasn't he?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're a name Burgess. Russell Crowe just signs them on principle.
I found the wiki. I've just watched a documentary before we did the show, and it's 45 minutes long, and it's about Sam Burgess, and it's about before they played a game when all 4 of them played together for the first time.
Yeah.
And it's all about that, and it's about Sam and everything he did when he was going over there, relationship with his dad. And it was all leading up to that game when you saw all 4 Burgesses playing for the first time. It's on YouTube. I'll put it on the page. It's an amazing 45 minutes long. It's a great one to see inside the world of Sam. And
I mean, it's such as well what Russell Crowe's done, because there's a seat permanently left empty, isn't there, for the Burgesses' dad?
Yeah, they said that because when he did it on there, it made the Sam cry, because he said we got this thing, and it was this empty 2 words that he always said to his sons. And he got this on his membership card, and he always says there is a seat for Sam's dad next to me in the Anzac Stadium. And I'm like, that's cool. And he's coming home this year, and I think Sam and South Sydney aren't finished. I reckon he's back there within 2 years.
He'll do a Sonny Bill.
Oh, I think he's just going to test the water. But it's like we've always said, if somebody offers you £500,000 and to do the same job you're getting paid $250 for, you're going to go. You're going to go because your career's short. I think the biggest I remember, and this involved a Saints player, I think the most controversial transfer of the 90s for me, going back now to before the Super League, Paul Newlove from Featherstone to Saints. He was lynched at Featherstone Rovers for leaving them. And then he signed for St Helens. And he just said, I've just doubled my wages, that's all I've done. I'm getting paid better.
No, it was. It was. I mean, I remember. I mean, there were transfers, but again, it's something very different with rugby league, and I noticed this being a Saints fan. And if you're an older one like myself, yeah, you know, Dean's a young whippersnapper, but Gary Conley, when he went from Saints to Wigan.
Oh, yeah.
Gary Conley, when he signed for Wigan. Now, I know this for a fact, being a fan in the stands at the old Nosey Road at the Clock End. When we used to go Thursday nights to the academy games as well, that's what I mean, we used to go home away academy a lot. Gary Conley used to go to the academy games literally with a cap over his eyes so no one would notice him. because every time he noticed, he'd get a shed load of abuse. He remained a Saints fan, but got abuse off the fans for bettering his life. They never understood it. Yeah. Never understood it. And I think it was more one of those. Anyone but them.
Yeah.
If he'd have gone to Widnes, if he'd have gone to Warrington, Bradford, they'd have understood. Yeah. But because he went from Saints to Wigan, and it was a rare thing that happened back then.
Yeah.
It didn't matter, you know, let's ignore the fact that Sean Long came the other way. Let's ignore the fact Bobby Goulding came the other way.
Yeah.
You know, that doesn't matter. That's okay. If you go Wigan to Saints, that's fine. But if you go Saints Wigan, nah, you just never set foot in the ground again.
Yeah.
And that's the only thing that used to irk me.
Yeah, I've seen it once. I've seen it, somebody attack a player once, and that was Lee Jackson when he signed for the Eagles against Hull. Yeah. Hull players, all fans were so irate that they wouldn't come and support the whole team because they said we're not going to give money to pay for Sheffield Eagles for the transfer fee. We got Lee Jackson for 83,000 quid, and it was a steal. It was an absolute steal that we got Lee Jackson, the hooker, for 83,000, and he was coming off the pitch when we beat Hull. The worst thing is we beat him in the last minute to win by 4. And we just beat him with about 4 minutes left, and he was coming off the pitch, and there was about 200 Hull fans all over the top of the dugout where he came out of Don Valley Stadium, and they were just shouting so much abuse at him. And I'm like, I know all he could say it was just look at the scoreboard, and I've never had so much proud. I was so much admire the guy for taking it back. But all the Hull fans was going crazy at that guy, and Hull fans have always been the same towards Jackson ever since. Even when he went back, they still gave him stick for leaving in the first place.
Yeah, I know it's one of those, isn't it?
Yeah. But anyway, this week, look at his crystal ball. We'll go forward 6 months.
All right.
Right. Come October, who's going to be in the final four? The two finals before the grand final. If you could pick your 4 teams now for the final 4, who would you pick?
What are we talking? Lower leagues?
Any of them. Okay.
All right. I'll go Super League and Championship.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Super League. I'm looking at. Do you know what? I'm not saying as much as I want them to be. Saints aren't going to be there. Saints are still in transition. So I'm going to go. My Super League picks for the grand final.
The 4 teams for the semis.
Wigan Leeds in the final.
Wigan Leeds
in the final. I think, do you know what? I think Cass will keep on a roll. I think Saints and Cass will fall short.
Yeah.
I think Saints and Cass will fall short. Right, for the championship, the final 4, Sheffield Eagles, because they've just been on a roll the last few years.
Yeah.
Halifax, I'm going to go with my third draft pick for the championship final 4 will be Lee Centurions, because they are always thereabouts. And my 4th pick, do you know what? I've got a funny feeling that Featherstone, if they get this money and it all comes to fruition, I think it's going to be Featherstone. Sorry, mate, I'm going to go with a Featherstone-Halifax final, and I think Halifax will do the trick. Yeah. Nothing against Sheff and Lee have got enough in the bank, but I just don't. I think for Sheffield, I think it's a year too soon. For Lee, I just don't think they've got enough in the bank. I think Halifax, Featherstone get this money, that'll propel them. Halifax have got the full professional setup. And I think that'll carry them through. So, yeah, I'm looking at Wigan, believe it or not, horrible as it is to say. I just think I've got a funny feeling Wigan will retain it.
Yeah.
I've got this funny feeling that Wigan will do what Leeds have done for years and just hold off and start coming into proper form around August, September. And I think Halifax will come through. What about you?
It's my fourth at Super League. I'll go with Leeds. Huddersfield. I'll go Leeds, Huddersfield, because I think Huddersfield will snip it into it. They're just about there. They're just at 6th place now. I'm just looking at the table now. Leeds are doing something they've not done. They're hitting form early because you've both said it. Leeds on, for some reason, the big joke with Rugby League is Leeds only start playing in September. Well, Jason's going to kill me for that one.
We've had a good month.
Yeah, Jason's going to kill me for that. He's going to put my head on a platter.
No, but it's true. If Lord Sir Lord General Field Marshal Sinfield says we've had a good month, that's some Super League up, but that's another discussion for another time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll go Leeds.
So you got
Leeds, Wigan.
Yeah.
Do I say Warrington? No, I don't think Warrington will do it. If I'm going to go for the dark horse, I'll go for either Castleford. Yeah, I'll go Castleford. I'll go Castleford for the last 4. Leeds, Wigan, Huddersfield, and Cass for the final 4. Sorry, Saints, but I think it's like you said, it's a year 2. It's a year 2.
Yeah,
Start.
Yeah, Leeds will always be there or thereabouts.
Amazing start with Saints this year. Amazing. The top of the table is brilliant this year. Widner's Vikings are 5th. What a season. Yes. Dennis Betts is doing a great job at Widnes.
You know what? If it's like that, I think Dennis Betts will coach of the game.
Yeah. Do you know there's one team we've not talked about with relegation, and they've always been the topic of conversation when it says to get rid of them in Super League? Wakefield.
They're just going about the business quietly at the moment, aren't they? Too quietly.
But the stadium's falling apart. The team just seems to drag out. They always just seem to escape. The only reason they're still in Super League is because the Crusaders pulled out. That's the only reason they're still in there. You look at it and you think, Wakefield, they're just like that team that always seems to, like, they'll never trouble the top 8, but they'll just do enough to survive and stay there in the Super League. And I just think Wakefield, I've got a feeling, my 2 to be relegated, I'll go for Broncos and Wakefield Wildcats. Because I know there's 6 points between Bulls and Wildcats at the moment, but if Bradford,
I agree.
If Bradford are hitting the strides now, watch out Wildcats, because Bradford.
I absolutely agree. I think now Bradford are back on nil. Yeah. I think they'll beat the teams around.
That will give them such a boost, because the fact is now they're not on minus. That will give them such a great boost inside that when they go out and say, okay, we're only 6 points behind, we've got 16 games to go, let's bleed and sort it out. And next week they've got the Magic Weekend. So,
I think Bradford 6 games in the safe, 6 wins in the safe, and they can get them from the teams around them. Because they finished in the bottom half, they've got 2 more against the Broncos. There's 4 points. Wakefield, there's 4 points.
Yeah, mine for the championship. Yeah.
You're going Eagles, aren't you?
Lee, if anybody that's not seen it, Lee Centurions played 9, won 9 at this time. Yeah. They've scored 378 and conceded 152. They're like one of the best teams. You can't knock it. You can't ask for anything like that. 9 out of 9. I've got to put Lee in the final. I've got to. I think if Leighton is like you said with Featherstone, and yes, I am going to get slated beyond belief. This will just fall short because we've won it for the last 2 years. Don't get me wrong. I love the fact that the thing that does me is I think it's the Oleton Stadium factor because we've moved back to the old Speedway track in Sheffield. And this is going to, and now this is one of the things I've been burning up inside of me for months. Because of the arseholes at Sheffield City Council decided to pull down the stadium, the most up-to-date stadium we had in bloody England for 20 odd years, and demolish it. Sheffield nearly went out. I think they found a ground, so got told around, oh no, that's not going to meet requirements. So Oleton Stadium, where we started 30 years ago, now back there. We've had a rough start. Now we're starting to hit it. 50 odd points past the Crusaders.
Yeah.
I want to say
Yeah.
my heart and my soul the Sheffield Eagles. It really will be. I'll always be an Eagles fan. I'll always will. But I think at the moment Doncaster are up there as well, but I can't see Doncaster continuing it. Doncaster will just do what they always do, bleed and go bankrupt.
Yeah.
So my thought, Lee, Featherstone, Halifax, and Sheffield, as always, will be.
All right. So who that go up?
Lee.
Who goes up as champions?
Lee
go up as champions.
If it was, I mean, yeah, but 6 months, anything can happen in 6 months. We all know this. Everything can happen. It's just us doing it, looking at crystal balls and seeing what we can do. Who knows what's going to happen in 6 months' time? But Lee always one of these clubs that's always said, as soon as they get a good team in place, and we know this from years gone by. Lee have always been a team when they've got themselves sorted in the lower leagues and getting into the Super League, they implode. They go and they lose all their money and they've got to go back down and start all over again. Same with Doncaster and it's same with a few other teams. Every time they seem to get a good side and they build up from the kids, they get in the Super League and then it just falls apart for them. I don't want that to happen to any club this time. If you get into Super League, stay there. But we're going to get back to the old situation. I think we're going to get back to the old situation now because we've got the relegation thing back. Is we're not going to have that benefit of what Widners have had saying, okay, we can build, we can get a team together. I'm not worried about relegation. Now, you're going to get lads that would get relegated from teams in the Super League end up going to teams that's been promoted.
Yeah.
It's going to be a vicious circle. They're going to go, oh yeah, well they just go another season in Super League, get relegated, and then they'll get transferred to the team that's come up. So they'll never. It just seems it's going to go back to the days of the early noughties and the late 90s. I hope it.
Yeah.
But is the gap between?
It's going to be a yo-yo.
Is the gap between the Championship and Super League big, or we don't know? But looking at the Challenge Cup matches, yes, it's big. So,
well, the thing is, though, are we going to? It's the only way we're going to shrink it. Promotion and relegation, I reckon we should discuss another time because that's a whole hornet's nest. That one because you've got halfway through the season and you split into 3 leagues of 8. I'd like to know what was smoked in the boardroom that day. When not only did they say it was a good idea, they voted it, but mate, to be honest with you, I think with that one, I don't know about you, but I'd like to go and read through all that and come with that one prepared.
Who came up with that? That has got to be. I want to meet this guy that said, "Oh yeah, that's a great idea."
All right, what happens if you're in the middle 8?
Yeah.
How does it work? If you're a Super League club who were in the top 12. And you finish in the top 4. Do you survive? Do you?
I think what it is if you're in the Super League. Oh, excuse me a sec. I think I found the bleeding article that says about it. Give me a second.
I'm totally lost. In fact, I've just started thinking about it. I'm getting a migraine. Because and the whole down to 8th place of the playoffs in Super League, you are rewarding mediocrity. You're turning. Imagine that in the Premier League, where you turn around and go, "All right, if you finish in the top 12, you're in the playoffs of the league title."
Yeah.
So we're saying a team that can finish 8th. Leeds, they took advantage of the rules. Saints went on that run from 5th last year. There's something about 5th place. There's something about 5th. And the rod for its own back started. Do you know what? I've got to say, it's 6 years ago when we won it from 3rd. Do you know what I mean? The nightmare scenario happened then where Saints finished 3rd and won it. The idea is it was loaded so 1 and 2 won. But it goes against 1 and 2 because they have the week off. Yeah. They lose a week. So they have a week's break. They slow down. Any momentum they've lost is gone. Which is why Leeds, who won it from 5th, because they played every single week.
No. Right, this is how it's working. Right, this is how it's going to work. You ready? They will.
I'm ready.
Right, this is what I've found out. This is from Sky Sports, right? The structure's been agreed, right? This came on their website. There will be 12 teams in the Championship next season, and the 2 12s from Super League and Championship will have two leagues of 12 teams.
Right.
The two 12s will split into 3 groups of 8 after 23 regular rounds. So there's 23 rounds, and they'll split into 3 groups of 8. The 8 will then play off against each other to decide the Super League champions, who is relegated and who is promoted in the divisions. The new structure has been agreed by the Super League clubs. Blah, 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 blah. So I want to know this: is the point system scrapped? And you do 23 rounds from start to finish, and then when you go into these leagues of 8, all the things you've done in the past 23 rounds is scrapped, and you start on 0, and then it's a new league where you find out who's going to get relegated and who's going to get promoted.
No, because then there's another 7 games or 14 games. But again, on an odd number game, we don't need round 23. If you're in the 22, play each other once. I know this is a really, really difficult concept for the RFL to understand. But why can't we just play each other once at home,
once away,
and
that's it?
11 home games, 11 away games. No one cares about week 23.
That magic weekend, isn't it? It's the Magic Weekend League.
They rig it anyway. They rig it so it's derbies anyway, except for Catalan, because Catalan just played London. Oh, who are Catalan going to play? Anyway, well, I'll worry about that another time. Right, so if you finish in the top 8, can you get relegated? Or are you safe?
No, I think you're relegated. You go into the bottom division, and then the one that wins in if you get oh, God. It's a brain freeze, isn't it? It's absolutely brain freeze.
So that's what I mean. So if you finish 9th, 10th, 11th, or 12th in the Super League, you drop into this middle division. If you then win that mini division, are you then the championship winners? And to hell with the team who finished at the top of the championship. And then, do you know what? I feel like I'm back at school. I don't get it. It's going to last a season. It's going to last a year.
It's going to be that.
Do you remember when
do you remember when we had the 3 divisions in the early 90s, when Division 2 was created by Gary Etherington, and there was... Well, there's two leagues of Bulls lovers, they said 3 groups of 8. There's 2 leagues of 12. They're going to split into 3 groups of 8. So there's 24 teams split into 3 groups of 8 after 23 rounds. So,
is it knockout league? Is it what?
It's brilliant, isn't it? It's one of those. We'll get it sorted out. We'll sort out everything for next time. There is no show next week because I'm working. I've just remembered I've got my afternoon shift next week, but there is a one back. We are back in 2 weeks' time. So
right. We've got 2 weeks, and we still won't have worked this out.
2 weeks, and we won't have work it out. It's going to be absolutely going to be off the wall. But
okay, right, 2 weeks. Right, if you can work this system out of who does what, 01223 926 867, phone into the 4020 show. Seriously, because if you can work this out, you cannot have a job at the Rugby Football League.
Because you're brainy.
Okay, it's simple. You're too clever.
Yep.
Go work in union. Go work with the Raras, because you are too clever and you're southern. Clearly, because old northern men who are drinking Mackesons and smoking cigars are sat in a smoke-filled room in Huddersfield and have made this system up. My head hurts.
Yeah,
my head hurts.
Right, forget it.
Yes.
Right.
Forget it. Right, finish top 8 and you can win the title, possibly, maybe. Who knows?
If you're in the top 8, if you finish in the top 8, you're in the Super League. If you finish the bottom of the 8, you get relegated to the... that's it. I've got it now.
You can't work for the RFL.
If you're in the bottom 8, like there's 3 groups of 8, if you're in the bottom 8, you can't go up any further because you're going to be in the championship next season. So they're going to be playing for a pointless trophy anyway.
Right, hang on. Are they so the bottom 8 in the championship are just playing 7 friendlies or however many friendlies?
Yeah, or just playing for a plate or something like that, whatever it is they want to do. The middle 8, they're going to be playing to get promoted to the Super League for next year.
But if you're a Super League team, that means you survive.
If you're a Super League team, if you finish bottom of that 8, you will go down to the Championship the next season. That's the way it's got to be. That's the way I work it out. That's simple. So there's not only this like, oh, going to be the top 8, going to be bottom 8.
Right. So if they play, say, 7 games, and if 3 Super League teams finish 6th, 7th, and 8th, those 3 Super League teams go down.
Yeah. Well,
so the top 4. So in that middle 8, the top 4 will make up the 12 for Super League next season.
Yeah. It's
I think. Unless they change the rule, Widnes finish in that top 4, and then they'll change the rules and say something about the stadium so they get relegated.
Yeah. Well, anyway, my brain hurts now. So, I've got brain freeze.
Right, should we wrap then on that moment?
Yeah, we'll just have a look at this quickly and then see it. Right, Crybaby of the Week. We'll finish off with this. Crybaby of the Week. What's your Crybaby of the Week? Because I haven't got one yet. But
you know what? Until last night, it was Cristiano Ronaldo. But it's not.
No, I wonder why.
Yeah, do you know what? I'm going to leave Luis Suarez alone because Liverpool would still win the title. Yeah, Crybaby of the Week was Cristiano Ronaldo when he got his little toe stamped on and hobbled off the pitch in tears. Seriously, I watched a Halifax game, 2 seasons ago on Premier Sports where a guy went and had emergency dental surgery to have 4 teeth removed, having been smashed in the jaw with a forearm, and came back on to finish the game. So... Yeah, my Crybaby of the Week is Cristiano Ronaldo. Right, before that, just one last shout to a guy down at Newcastle Knights, Alex McKinnon. Let's end on a good news story, if you don't mind. Newcastle Knights, Alex McKinnon, if you are or not aware, was tragically hurt. It wasn't a malicious spike tackle. They just didn't set him down right. He broke his neck. He's ended up quadriplegic. Newcastle Knights, rugby league club down in Australia, have turned round and given him an extended playing contract. Even though he can never play again, he is officially on the playing roster until he reaches retirement age in rugby league, which is about 33, 34.
And then the NRL are giving him a job for life.
The NRL have given him a job for life. This guy has been made financially secure. So, yeah, on a good news story, if anyone wants to doubt the power and the brotherhood of the rugby league family, there it is right there. So, if you ever follow it, there's that big hashtag Rise for Alex. Yep. We'll mention other great causes throughout the weeks and months to come, because there are many.
This is his first one. This is the first of many. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. I know me and Ant have been one of these that's been wanting to get this. We've been bugging ourselves for ages wanting to do this.
Stars are finally aligned, mate, haven't they?
Yeah, we wanted to start it off in a good way. With what we've listened to us and everything, and we really hope everybody's enjoyed it. If you're listening to us on YouTube, thank you very much for taking the time to listen to us. We are on Twitter. We're on Twitter at 40 as in the number, and then it's 20, the letter in, and it's 4020 rugby. And we're on Facebook, facebook.com/4020 rugby again. We're also going to be on Spreaker, because I've got to put that on, and we're going to be all over the place. So you're not going to be able to find us. If you want to listen to the show again, if you look underneath our chat room, there is a massive thing that says archives. That's where it's going to be, so you can listen to the show again. But thank you every single person that's messaged us, like the page. We're up to 42 likes in a week, which I think is amazing. The power of rugby league fans is going to be massive on this one. It's like we said, the 4020 show is by fans, for fans. That's all it is. You might not agree with us. Fine, that's fair enough. We can take down part. We can have a thing. Yeah. But at least we'll be talking about it, and it's the greatest game of all. And we will have sections. We will have fun and games. We're just finding us feet as we go on the first few ones. But it's going to be a massive thing, and it gives me a chance to talk something else apart from bloody wrestling. So, I'm enjoying every minute of it. Thanks ever so much to this gentleman, other end of my headset, because now we've got a partnership with the sounds of it, and it's going to go really, really good on.
It's been a pleasure. Looking forward to 2 weeks already.
Yeah, okay. We will be back 2 weeks' time on Tuesday, the 20th of May. Magic Weekend. Wait. I think that's the Magic Weekend from up in Manchester. I think it's that Magic Weekend, so we've got all that things to do. if you want to get involved with us at any point, want to come on, want to talk about it, be an admin, do whatever you want, and just get the word out there, please get in contact with us. We'll have a with you.
Yeah. Looking for sponsors as well. If you want shouting out, no, honestly, if you guys have got a product out there, rugby related, for fitness related, give us a shout. I've got a couple of guys I'm talking to at the moment. Once we know what's happening with them, we've got a couple of people who looking at becoming partners coming on board.
Yeah. So thanks to this gentleman. Other than I said, cheers, Ant, mate, for tonight.
No worries, Tina.
And
all right, thanks for listening, everyone.
See you next week, guys. Take care.
See you later. Good night.
All right.